How's it going, guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can see, spring has rapidly turned into summer out here. At least that's what it feels like. And for me, that means that I need to start irrigating this pasture. That's what we're doing today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. So before I can start the water out in the pasture, I need to move these cows into a different field. And before I do that, I need to feed this guy. He's waiting patiently, so we better do it. So these cattle should be pretty easy to move. I think this front pasture that they're in right now, they've got picked down pretty low. So I'm hoping when I open the gates, they just follow me back there. But if not, you guys are gonna get to hear me call them, which is not gonna be embarrassing at all for me. But let's see what they do. Well, the cows pretty much seem more interested in this little field than this big field that I'm trying to put them in, but that's all right because when I have them in the back field here, I do leave them access to this little field so that they're able to get up into the corral and get in some shade. So for now, I see no need to do my cow call, but I'm going to go ahead and close the gate on them, and then we're going to get this pump fixed up and see if it starts. So before I can go get the pump started, I first need to uncover all my valves out here in the field. And it kind of got me thinking, and I have had a couple of you ask about my irrigation system. So I think before we get too far into this, I want to try to explain to you kind of how my irrigation system works out here. So on my irrigated pasture, my fields are divided up into these checks. So like, here's a levee right here. I hope that shows up on camera, and about, I don't know, 30 feet, I think, is how far apart they are. We have another levee. So the dog's right to the right of it, it's right there. So in between these levees, I have these irrigation valves. Okay, so I've tried to uncover this irrigation valve here, but that's part of what I need to do before I can start the water, is go and dig all the dirt out from around these. But when I open this up, this is just a buried 4-inch pipe, and it will put water out into the field. So each check has its own valve. This field has 8 checks, so 8 valves, and that is how we water the pasture. We just flood it. So I just noticed that I still have a calf in here. I guess he was taking a nap when the rest of the cows walked out. So I need to get him moved back with the herd, and then I can go through and clean these valves out. All right, so we finally got him back up here. Now, let's get back to what we were doing. So I know there's a valve here somewhere, but I've got to find it with the shovel. This could take a while. All right, so we found what we were looking for, and it didn't even take that long. Now I just got to do that with the other 7. Usually this one's the worst because it's right by the gate, so when it's muddy out here and they walk by it, that's how they bury it in the mud, but these other ones shouldn't be too bad. But I got to uncover them before we can do anything else, so let's do it. The next thing that I have to do out here, now that I've got all the valves cleaned finally, is I need to go get my crank and open these valves up, and then I can turn the pump on. All right guys, let's go down and get the pump ready and see if we got water. So as you guys can see out here, the grass it's definitely not turning yet. It's still pretty green and healthy looking, but I always like to start my irrigation before the grass starts looking stressed, because there's always that chance that you go to start the pump and it doesn't work for some reason. And if that were to happen, I want to make sure that I've got enough time to get it fixed to where it doesn't affect my pasture. So when I say let's go see if we got water in a half joking tone, it's only a half joking tone. I really do kind of worry about it every year. I mean, that pump was here in 1957 when my grandparents moved here, and it is the same pump and same motor that's been here the whole time. So I just got to figure one of these years I'm going to go down there and it's not going to work. But hopefully it's not this year. Hopefully everything works good. But let's go oil it, grease it, and see what happens. So I think it may be time for a water break. It is really hot out here. Whew. My black dog here, Remy, this is Brownie. Remy's right, oh, sorry Brownie. Remy's right behind her. But she is half lab and half Chesapeake. Now, if you don't know what a Chesapeake retriever is, they are bred to hunt in, guess for it, the Chesapeake Bay, which is very cold water. So in a nutshell, what that means is she's a little bit more sensitive to heat than the other dogs. So before we run down to the pump, I'm going to dunk her in the water trough because she's about to have a heart attack over here. But I just want to kind of explain that a little bit, because some people might think it's cruel or it looks mean what I'm doing, but trust me, she loves this. What do you think, Remy? You feel better? She's a little too old to jump in there by herself now, but if ever I couldn't find her as a puppy on a hot day, that's exactly where she would be. All right, guys, so this is the pump that I was telling you about that was here before 1957. Honestly, I don't know what year it was put in, but it's a heck of a lot older than I am. And really, it only needs two things to get started for each year, and that is I need to grease the bearings and I need to put turbine oil in it as well. Now, the bearings, that's a once a year thing. The oil I have to do every time I run it. So we are going to do that, and we are going to cross our fingers and hope this thing fires up. We're in business. It's running. Everything sounds good. No strange noises. I think we're going to be good to go. Let's run back up into the pasture that we're irrigating and see how everything looks up there. So I just remembered, before we run up to the field and check those valves, the cows knocked over a vent down in this back pasture. And I learned a while ago that when they do that, well, it leaves probably a 6 to 8 inch hole at ground level. And I learned that sometimes when they knock that over, critters like to get in that pipeline. So you're best to not put it back until you run the water, so the water can force whoever might have taken up residence in the pipeline out. So we need to run down there and put that vent pipe back on and hope that there wasn't a skunk or something living in that pipe, because if there was, he's probably not going to be too happy. Well, the good news is I don't see any skunks or any other kind of critters running around out here, so I think I can go ahead and put this vent pipe back on. All right, so I got a little shower that I wasn't expecting, which honestly, it's so hot today, that felt pretty awesome. I really hope that it didn't ruin this microphone though. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this clip now and see if the audio is okay. Maggie, you ready to go? I know. There's more water over here though. Brownie, come on. Let's go. That's an interesting way to ride, Brownie. Is that what you're doing? Oh, you embarrassed? All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. All I can do now is just wait for this water to finish. This pasture is 6 acres and I have it divided into 8 checks. Now, just to clear up a little bit of the terminology, the check is the 30-foot space in between the levees, which are the humps that run the long ways down the field. So my 8 checks and the 6 acres on a normal irrigation would probably take around 16, 18 hours on a long cycle. It's been pretty hot and the north wind's been blowing, but we did have a lot of rain earlier, so it's hard to say how long this is going to take. I would expect it to be pretty average. So I need to go set the clock on the pump, actually. That's a good thing I brought that up. Anyway, thanks for hanging out in the field with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.